Welcome to Australia!
Yeah, we really did.
Alright, how's it going everybody? My name is Akira and yeah, as you know, I'm doing a student exchange program in Australia. If you follow my Instagram, because I update a lot on my Instagram, especially on my Instagram stories, and there will be a highlighted Instagram story so you can't watch any other Instagram stories that is already deleted for within 24 hours. So I'm gonna share my experience doing my student exchange in Australia. Well, as you can see from the title of this video, it's Australia Culture Shock. So I'm gonna deliver to you some of the shocking cultural problems, because I'm not Australian, I'm Indonesian. Let's see, what are the culture shocks? So the first thing that I noticed in Australia that is really different than Indonesia is of course the race of the people. Yeah, most of Australians are white and I am Asian. I think I got a bit of a Chinese descent, I don't know, like 200 years ago or 100 years ago. So right now I'm really getting used to see white people. I'm getting used to talking to white people in English, and from what I've seen in Australia, I think that the average height of Australian is way taller than Indonesian. For example, I am 5'7". I think I'm legit 5'7". I'm not exaggerating because I'm already short. Because I think at school the average height is about 5'9" or 5'10". And yeah, that's the culture shock of a race. But as time goes by, when you live in Australia, you're gonna feel that even though I'm Asian, I'm feeling that I'm being white, because I'm getting used to seeing white people, and I'm getting used to study with white people, mingle with white people, and yeah, I don't really care at all that I'm an Asian. Next is the weather. So if you guys don't know, in Australia it's winter right now and it's pretty cold, but there is no snow. I live in New Gisborne, Victoria, Australia. Well, it's way colder because it is in the countryside than in a city like Melbourne or Sydney or any other big city in Australia. Especially when I got to wear shorts to go to school, because I actually get the long pants but it doesn't fit me right because I'm fat bastard, and yeah, I gotta wear shorts, and then I'm wearing blazer. It's pretty cold sometimes. I think the coldest I'm feeling like 1 degree, I think. And the next is prices. When I arrive in Australia, prices are really high. So for example, if you want to buy an internet card, I get one from AIRPODS. It's not a sponsored video, and it costs like 35 bucks or 30 bucks, I don't know. It's pretty expensive compared to Indonesia. Like, I think I spend about mostly under 10 bucks for a month for internet card. And also everything is cheap in Australia except two things. First is shoes, and second is milk. I don't know why, but I think shoes is way cheaper in Australia than in Indo, because the tax that is coming from China, Vietnam, USA is not as high when the shoes is coming to Indonesia. So yeah, and when there is a discount, it's gonna be really cheap. Everything is gonna be really cheap for sure. And also milk. In Indonesia, milk for a liter is gonna cost like $1.80, but in Australia it only costs like $1. So my host family in Australia, they bought 3 liters of milk that is only cost $3. And yeah. And then next is iPhone, AirPods, and MacBook. I'm not an iPhone user, I'm an Android user. My phone is, I don't know, Oppo. It's pretty common in Indo, but in Australia, like, everybody's are using iPhone. For example, like, out of 100 people, there are 95 people who's using iPhone. So in Indo it's like the opposite. There are only 5% of them who are using iPhone. So a lot of them are using Android. And also AirPods, because I think AirPods it costs like 225 Australian dollars. It's really expensive for Indonesian, for like me. But in Australia, I think I saw a lot of people at school that is wearing AirPods, that is having AirPods. I was plugging to the ear, and that's really expensive. They're rich. I don't know, maybe because I study in a private school where everybody's are wealthy enough to buy that. And also MacBook. I'm a Mac user because I edit my videos in Final Cut Pro. See? But MacBook is not pretty common in Indo. Like a lot of people are using Windows, Lenovo, HP, Dell, Asus, and etc. But yeah, MacBook is really common in Australia. Next one is traffic jam. I think because I live in the countryside, I live in New Gisborne, Victoria, so there is not a lot of traffic jam compared in a big city like Melbourne. I've been to Melbourne like twice, I think. Not twice, like I've been there a lot of time because I was doing my working experience because I'm in grade 10 right now in Australia, and there's a lot of traffic jams. But in a country like this, like it's even rarely to see a car, and there is no even a motorcycle. Which bring me to the next point is no motorcycle. In Australia, motorcycle is really rare. Even in a big city like Melbourne, there is only a few people who's using motorcycle, and well, lots of people that are using car. Compared to Indonesia, for example, I myself in Indonesia, I'm still in high school. I'm going to my school by using my motorbike. I do have a license, and yeah, almost every single of my friends that are using motorcycles to go to school. And it's really common in Indo, even when they don't have any driving license. Next is importance of religion. It's gonna be like a pretty sensitive topic, but in my country, in Indo, like almost every single human being is religious. Compared to Australia, even like the majority of people, they don't have any religion or atheists, which is really not acceptable in my country. But yeah, I'm getting used to it, because they think that really religion is not that important. What important is, do you civilize or not? So I just want to clarify that not every single Australians are atheists. There are a lot of Australians who are religious, but in Australia, religion or religious problems or anything that relates to their faith in God is only for their private life. So they don't talk about it publicly. It's not like in Indo where religion, it belongs to the public. So you can ask someone's religion without any excuses. Well, because it's very impolite for you to ask Australians, do they have any religion or not? Do they religious or not? No, it's really impolite. You can't do that. And then also, even if you want to ask someone's age, you can't do that in Australia. It's just impolite. I mean, you can't go into someone's personal or private life. And religion is their private life. For Australians, it doesn't belong to the public. So once again, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of Australians are atheists. It means that religion is their own personal and private life. So you can't bother them with their religion because it is inappropriate. I hope you understand that. Alright? Next is how people dress. In Australia, like there are lots and lots of people who are using shorts. In Indo, short is not that common. And in Indonesia, a lot of people, I mean a lot of women they're using hijab, veil, and there's no one in Australia who's doing that except Indian and Indonesian that is coming to Australia. Next is accent of Australia. You know, when I get to Australia, Australian accent I think is the hardest accent to be understood, because I don't know, there are like two of my friends who were coming to Indonesia. They're doing a student exchange and coming to my school, and I talked to them and their accent is really hard to understand. I don't know why, but Australians will always make words simpler, so sometimes it's kind of hard to understand. But yeah, you're gonna get used to it. Well, right now I'm getting used to Australian accent, and even though I learned American accent for, I don't know, like for the whole 11 years of my school life in Indo. And then also shape of buildings. When I get to a big city like Melbourne, they're like, I don't know, you know, European types of buildings that the color is white and then cream and then like a bit of an orange and yellow, or I don't know, I'm gonna show you the picture here. So it's really different than a shape of building in Indonesia, because I think it got a silhouette of what a Western building should look like. And also the next thing is school bus. In Indonesia, I've never tried any school bus in my whole entire school life in Indo. Like I always use my bicycle, motorcycle, or even a car, but I never use any school bus. But then in Australia, from my school, they provided a school bus that with a bus pass. So if you are absent or if you do not exist in the bus, they will notice you where you're going. And also in Australia, after the school finish, everyone's are going directly to the bus, and so there is no one who's staying at school until the end of the night, or I don't know, like they're always going directly to the house. And that's what I love from school bus. The next is curriculum. In Indonesia, the school year starts in July, but in Australia, school year starts in January. So I think Indonesians, they're like a half year faster than Australians. So in Indonesia, I did just start grade 12, but in Australia, when I come in here, I'm supposed to be in grade 11 because I'm 17 years old, but I'm being placed in grade 10. I don't care. So in Indonesia, we are still using books. So we are going to the library every single semester or every single year to borrow our book. Or if you are in a private school, you gotta buy your own book from another bookstore. But since I'm studying in a public school in Indo, I borrow my book from the library, and that's where our main lessons comes from. Well, it's not like in Australia when I have a sector account. It's SEQTA, so I can log into that website, and there is like lots of ebooks inside of the sector account, and the school system just gonna give you the appropriate book and the appropriate exam or some task through that sector website. You can just learn about it later. But yeah, so we use like computer every day. I bring my own computer inside of my backpack. In Australia, to go to school, so I don't bring books anymore. Some notebooks do. I mean,